Are you your own boss? Not just at work or on paper, but in every aspect of your life. Because this is a change you can make. You can learn to be fully and completely in charge of your own life. In this video, we'll give you a 6-step plan that will show you how to make it happen. Maybe you're thinking, I can't learn that through a video. My life is complicated. You don't understand. But this plan does work, if you'll commit to taking it seriously. It works because it addresses the one factor that remains constant across every personal struggle: you. Here's what we'll cover in our 6-step system to transform you from a passenger in your life to the commander of your soul. First, we'll start with the reality check that serves as our foundation. Second, extreme ownership, where you stop treating circumstances like a tragedy. Third, ending self-sabotage through decisive action. Fourth, practical Stoic principles for facing the chaos of life. Fifth, crafting a winning plan. And sixth, executing it with daily practices to put it all into action. It won't be comfortable and it won't be easy. But on the other side of this lies the vast, alarming, gorgeous range of possibilities awaiting those brave enough and strong enough to become their own master. The first step is to face reality without flinching. You must start with honesty as your foundation. Let's be brutally honest. You aren't the master of your life right now. Not even close. You've created a gorgeous, idealized mirage of what control looks like. That perfect version of yourself who never procrastinates, never doubts, never surrenders to fear or comfort. But that mirage is precisely what's keeping you stuck. The foundation of self-mastery isn't some inspirational fantasy. It is the courage to look at your life exactly as it is: messy, imperfect, and occasionally disappointing. You weren't put on this earth to create a carefully curated existence, scrubbed clean of all inconvenience and challenge. You are here to experience the full, terrifying range of being human. Every time you flinch away from an uncomfortable truth about yourself, you surrender a piece of your power. Every time you blame circumstances, instead of claiming responsibility, you become the passenger in your own life. Every time you convince yourself that someday you'll finally take charge, you're just postponing the moment of actual transformation. The illusion of control is seductive precisely because it requires nothing of you. It lets you drift in a fantasy where someday, somehow, everything will magically align. The reality of self-mastery demands that you wake up to where you actually are. You can change what you are if you can recognize what that is first. The journey begins with this step. So take inventory. Where have you surrendered your power? Where have you chosen comfort over growth? Where have you been lying to yourself? This isn't about shame, it's about clarity. Because you can't steer a ship if you refuse to acknowledge which way it's actually pointing. And the moment you do is the moment things finally start to get better. Now that you've faced reality, it's time to take what's rightfully yours. Complete ownership of your life. This is our second step. Extreme ownership. How often do you find yourself playing the lead in your own personal tragedy? The victim of circumstances, bad luck, or other people's actions? This narrative is the single greatest obstacle between you and true self-mastery. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The world isn't fair, people aren't always kind, and circumstances won't always align with your desires. But that doesn't mean your life is a tragedy, unless you decide to write it that way. The ancient Stoics understood what many of us have forgotten. There's a fundamental dichotomy of control. Some things are within your power, and others aren't. The weather, other people's actions, global events, These aren't yours to command, but your responses, your decisions, your focus, these belong entirely to you. When you live in a mental maze of perceived offenses and conspiracies against you, you surrender your power to the outside world. Every finger you point outward drains energy you could be using to build your own strength. Blame makes you smaller, not stronger. Try this exercise. Take 3 recent complaints you've made about your life and transform each into a commitment. My boss doesn't appreciate me becomes I commit to making my value undeniable. I don't have time for fitness becomes I commit to prioritizing my health. A bad person cost me an opportunity becomes I will create my next opportunity. I'm not pretending hardships don't exist. I'm saying you should refuse to surrender your power to them. When you embrace extreme ownership, you stop waiting for the world to make things right. You do something much better. You reclaim the power that was yours all along. Now that you've claimed ownership, it's time to stop the most insidious form of self-sabotage: inaction. This brings us to our third principle, the imperative for action. You've felt it before, that feeling of anxiety when faced with important decisions or big tasks. We are taught that clarity comes before action, but this gets it backward. Taking action is what kills anxiety. Movement creates clarity when thinking can't. Let's call procrastination what it really is: self-betrayal. Every time you put off what matters, you're stealing from your future self. You're making secret promises you have no intention of keeping, accumulating a debt of broken trust with the person who matters the most in your life, you. Many take comfort in the myth that preparation equals progress. They research endlessly, plan meticulously, and organize obsessively, mistaking motion for action. But preparation without execution is just stalling. Your perfectly crafted plan means nothing if it stays theoretical. The cure for paralysis isn't perfect action. It's just action. Even imperfect actions create momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence creates results. Here's your exercise. Identify one action that genuinely terrifies you. Something important that you've been avoiding. That terror isn't a warning sign. It's a beacon pointing directly to where your greatest growth will arise. Now commit to taking that action within 24 hours, no matter what. Psychologically, your brain will naturally prefer the safety of planning over the vulnerability of doing. But real self-mastery happens in that vulnerable space where you finally stop preparing to live and start actually living. Your future self is waiting for you to fulfill your promises, so fulfill them and start making good on your promise today. Now that you've committed to action, it's time to develop the mindset that will sustain you as you work to reclaim ownership of all that you are. This is our fourth step, creating your mastery mentality. For most of us, the pursuit of comfort has become a modern religion. But comfort is the enemy of becoming. It lulls you into stagnation while whispering that you're safe. True safety isn't found in avoiding difficulty. It's in becoming the person who can face anything. Let's take stock of what a good life is. We are here to witness wild love and disappointment and unexpected sickness and eventually death. This isn't pessimism. It's the truth. We face it head on so that we can move forward. When we accept the full spectrum of existence, we're not held hostage by the fear of what might happen. The ancient Stoics practiced amor fati, the love of fate. This is the radical choice to find beauty and lessons in whatever happens, not because everything is beautiful, but because this perspective gives you power no circumstance can take away. Here's an exercise. to help you put you back in control of your own life and back on top. Identify something you've been avoiding, a situation, emotion, or truth, and challenge yourself to find genuine beauty in it, if you can. If you can't, find a lesson, something you can value, the pain that's making you stronger, the rejection that's redirecting you, the uncertainty that's teaching you to trust yourself. Do this to get stronger, as the ancient Stoics did before you. You can prepare for the blows of fate in small ways. For example, start practicing voluntary discomfort. Cold showers, fasting, hard conversations, deliberately putting yourself in situations that challenge you and train your mind to deal with uncertainty and tough situations. In short, in order to master your life, you must master yourself. And you can start on that by strengthening your responses under stress. True freedom isn't the absence of challenge. You will face challenges in this life. You can't change that because it's certain. What you can change is how you respond to them with the help of Stoic wisdom. So focus on that, on developing a self that will triumph over everything, and you will be free. This brings us to our fifth step, creating a life of freedom, a life worth leading. But be warned, to create such a life, some things are going to have to go. True self-mastery requires the courage to cut what doesn't serve you. Most people accumulate commitments, relationships, and obligations until they're suffocating under the weight of their own lives. Being your own master means having the courage to say no, not just to others, but to parts of yourself that keep you small. Look at your calendar, your relationships, your habits. Which of these truly align with your deepest values, which are simply the result of drift, people-pleasing, or fear? Past a certain point, freedom doesn't come from adding more to your life. It comes from ruthlessly eliminating what doesn't belong. Any plan you come up with must include strategic abandonment. Identify what you'll stop doing, what relationships you'll gracefully exit, what commitments you'll wind down. Because to be truly free, you must reclaim ownership of your time and energy. But be prepared. People who benefit from your current boundaries will resist when you establish new ones. Their discomfort is not your responsibility. Here's your exercise. Create 2 lists, one with everything that energizes you and aligns with your values, and another with everything that drains you or pulls you off course. Keep what is good, but commit to eliminating one item from the second list each week until it's empty. Remember, no one else will set you free. Liberation is an inside job that requires decisive action. The life you want is waiting on the other side of you saying no to the life you don't want. Now it's time for our 6th and final step, the concrete practices that transform this plan into true experience. Self-mastery isn't a destination. It's a practice, renewed with each sunrise. Begin each day by setting intentions that serve your highest self, not your most reactive self. The goal here is to choose deliberately. Ask yourself, if I were truly my own master, what would I prioritize today? Then act accordingly. Throughout your day, implement pattern interruptions. When you feel yourself slipping into old habits of blame or avoidance, pause. Take 3 deliberate breaths. This creates the space where choice lives. Without this space, you're like a broken record, running the same programs that have kept you stuck. With space and forethought, you can change. Life will test your resolve with disappointments and setbacks. Remember, you have to express your sadness, you have to mourn, but you can't treat your whole life like it's an unfair tragedy. Feel deeply, then choose wisely. Before sleep, conduct an honest inventory. Where did you lead yourself well today? Where did you abdicate your authority? This is the self-leadership you need to move you forward from the life you're living to the life you want. For the next 30 days, try to implement one practice from each section we've covered. Face one uncomfortable truth each morning. Take ownership of one situation you've been blaming on others. Take one imperfect action that terrifies you. Find beauty in one challenge. Eliminate one drain on your energy. Create one moment of deliberate choice. This is the daily workout regimen for the person determined to become their own master. The unburdened life is built one unburdened day at a time. If you can do this, you can get there. And that is how you can become your own master. But don't think of it as some far-off dream. It's a choice you can make today. We've walked through 6 powerful steps that can transform you from just riding along in your life to taking the wheel with confidence. We started with raw honesty, looking at your life without the sugarcoating that keeps you stuck. This truth is your starting point. You can't find your way if you don't know where you're standing right now. So many people run from their truth, hiding in denial, instead of finding power in facing reality. But you've chosen the harder, braver path, seeing yourself clearly, with all your strengths and flaws, with eyes wide open. By taking complete ownership, you've stopped seeing life's hard knocks as personal attacks and started seeing them as chances to show your strength. Playing the victim might feel good for a moment, but it leaves you chained to your circumstances instead of rising above them. Every time you blame others, you give away pieces of your power. By owning everything in your life, even the parts that aren't your fault but are now your problem, you take back your control. After that, you face down the near enemy, doing nothing. By understanding that clarity comes from taking action, not just thinking about it, you've broken free from the prison of endless planning and stepped into a world of real achievement. Life rewards movement, not just thinking about moving. Your willingness to act even when scared is ultimately what will set you free. Behind that, you have the Stoic wisdom you've embraced. This gives you a mindset that finds value in everything that happens, not just the easy stuff. You've learned that choosing discomfort on purpose builds the toughness you'll need when life throws discomfort at you without asking. By learning to love whatever happens, even the hard parts, you've found freedom within your circumstances, whatever they are. When you deliberately cut out what doesn't matter, you take back your time and energy from things that never served your highest goals. This careful pruning ensures that what's left truly matters. Your courage to say no shows the clarity of your yes. You understand now that adding without subtracting creates mess, not growth. Finally, you've woven these principles into daily habits that strengthen your control over your own life. These aren't one-time choices, but ongoing promises that build up over time, slowly transforming you into the master you were born to be. You've made space between what happens to you and how you respond, where your real power lives. And yet, for all this, there will be days when old habits creep back in, when staying comfortable feels better than being brave. In these moments, return to these principles not with harsh judgment, but with renewed determination. The master falls, but refuses to stay down. What sets the master apart isn't avoiding failure, but getting back up every single time. The world won't hand you freedom. You have to claim it through deliberate choices and consistent action. While others drift through life at the mercy of whatever happens, you now have the tools to stand firm in your power. You understand that freedom isn't having no limits. It's choosing how you respond to those limits. True power is about fulfilling the responsibilities you've chosen because they match what matters most to you. It's a journey that never ends. Each day brings new challenges to your mastery, new chances to strengthen your command. But with each conscious choice, each moment of taking responsibility, each brave action, you build momentum toward the life waiting for those brave enough to lead themselves. The question isn't whether you can become your own master. You now know the way. The only question left is, will you be brave enough to walk this path every day, to fail sometimes, to get back up, and to keep moving forward until mastery isn't just something you do, but who you are? In upcoming videos, we'll explore how additional ancient Stoic wisdom complements the lessons you've just learned. We'll introduce powerful new concepts to give you a fresh perspective on your daily struggles. These ideas share the same core truth, that becoming your own master requires a complete mental framework. Whether you're battling distraction, fear, or the opinions of others, these Stoic tools provide the perfect complement to your journey of self-mastery. Don't forget to subscribe and activate notifications to join our community of modern masters who are learning to command their lives instead of being commanded by circumstances. Your engagement helps others discover these transformative tools during their moments of need. Each comment sharing your experiences helps refine our understanding of how these ancient practices work in contemporary settings. Until next time, remember Epictetus's powerful words: make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. By applying this system of mastery alongside your own Stoic insights, you'll not only lead yourself effectively, you'll develop an unshakable strength that no external circumstance can breach. The path to mastering yourself is built one choice at a time. Now go out there and do it.